All right, guys, welcome back. It's been a while. I'm joined here today with the one and only Sheef and BAMBZ, and today the topic of the podcast is going to be PvP. For those of you who have not met him, Sheef, go ahead and let everybody know who you are.
Hello, everyone. I'm SheefGG. You catch me streaming on Twitch, do a bunch of YouTube content as well, primarily Tarkov, sometimes other games, but usually do educational content or fun challenges. Try to keep it fresh and do a bunch of different stuff. So when you tune in, you never really know what you're going to be getting. Yeah, that's me. I hope to catch you all on the stream sometime, and thank you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. Appreciate you for coming on here. I know you just got off that grueling 24-hour
Yeah.
grind. No, it came a little bit out of left field to be doing that one, but we
Yeah, I
appreciate
was
you
not
being
expecting
here.
it. It was fun, though. It was fun.
Bams, if you don't mind letting people know who you are. I know you're a household name here to me, but for those who do not know you.
Yeah. I'm BAMBZ. You guys might know me from my Sherpa content. I do a lot of helping, viewers and stuff. Obviously, Sherpa tickets as well. But yeah, I came from Destiny, did a lot of stuff over there, a lot of raid help, a lot of trials carries back in the day, and then transitioned into Tarkov. Yeah, main Tarkov now, and have been for quite some time. So yeah, hope to get back into some more tournaments. Haven't played in those in a while, but
We
hope to
love
see
a
you
good
guys.
tourney.
Yeah.
And then, so the topic today is PvP. Now, I know you guys obviously both do a fair bit yourself, but what does PvP mean to you guys? Like, what really brings forth that urge to get in there and try your heart out with PvP and really get into it?
For me, I mean, it's the unknown. You with Tarkov's matchmaking system, you never really know what you're going to be getting. It could be the newer players, or it could be an absolute unit of veterans. Could be a solo, duo, trio, squad, um, and the unknown leads into unique situations. And even though you fought in dorms thousands of times, it's always something new. And it's cool whenever you get that win, the spoils go to the victor, right? And so that's probably my favorite thing about Tarkov is that risk reward that comes with the PvP is like I'm putting up my risk of my gear and my time versus your risk of your gear and your time. And, whoever wins gets to take all that out. And there's just nothing like it when Tarkov's ruined other FPS games for me. I'll tell you that. Like
Yeah.
when you get a kill on Tarkov, I'm getting chills thinking about it. When you get a kill on Tarkov and you get to keep all that loot, and dude, I've like ruble's not really a thing to me anymore because it like I just end up making a lot as I play, right? Uh, and it's still just so satisfying to leave with a bag full of loot, player gear or just loot off the map in general. And so when you get in that PvP interaction and you have a bag full of loot and then you find more loot off them, that's just it's something special that Tarkov has been able to capture that other games just haven't been able to do for me. Getting a kill in any other FPS game just doesn't carry the same weight that Tarkov does for me.
No, it does not. And just like you said, risk versus reward. I tend to bring in full medic hits every raid,
Yeah.
but I tell people even if you come in with a TT pistol or a PPSH, you can still kill anybody in the game.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of now, do you aim for the face? Do I take out their legs? And I bring
Yeah.
in the gear.
Exactly.
I bring in the gear because I want the biggest advantage, but I'm also taking the biggest risk because now if you kill me, odds are that insurance isn't going to work too well. You want
Yeah.
that black MDR. That black MDR is coming with you one way or another.
Yeah.
And Bams, what does PvP mean to you? I know you've taken part in a fair few. I saw you play an arena the other day, hitting them with some Lapua
Yeah.
shots.
Oh yeah, that's what I love. I was just gonna touch on what Chief was saying. I like the fact that anything's possible, right? There's no SBMM per se.
Mm-hmm.
Run into level ones, you can run into level 61s. Both are just as likely. Um, that to me is something special that we haven't seen in a lot of games lately. A lot of
Mhm.
games lately have been ruined by SBMM, and you don't get that kind of natural variance in opponent. And then also just the fact that anything goes. Like if you have a pistol, like you said, if it has good ammo, you can still kill that level 6 Chad. As long as you hit the headshot, as long as your aim is good, any gun works. There's no hard meta of you have to use this gun, you have to use that gun. You can use anything, find good ammo for that gun and make it work. And it's so satisfying, like you said, to leave with,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
a whole bunch of loot.
Especially like Sheep said, going against squads as a solo. Oh man,
Yeah.
when you
Yeah, no.
dismantle that 4-man, you just dismantle them one at a time. Oh, it. I don't care what ace you've gotten in CS:GO, it does not feel the same until you start lugging 80 kilograms out of that turns
Yeah.
extract.
When you're leaving loot behind because you have too much. Yeah.
And on
Oh
the
yeah.
flip side of that, when you're running as a duo or a trio and you make those like good plays, the good comms, you know, the one person holding the angle, the other going on the flank, the keeping the point guy, all the attention on the point guy while the other person makes a flank play. When the good comms and good plays work, it's equally as satisfying as going 1v5. It
Oh yeah.
there's just so many different ways to go about each fight that it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And now getting into PvP, obviously we're gonna talk a lot in depth of this. What are key things for you guys in PvP? For me personally, like a lot of times I'm teaching a lot of newer players, being a Sherpa. BAMBZ teaches a lot of newer players, so the importance of the right hand just alone is almost undeniable. But that you're talking 1-2% of what goes into PvP, even though I say it's a huge portion.
Yeah.
What parts of PvP do you guys really enjoy and think are like good tips for players starting all the way from beginning, it's your first wipe to your 6-7 wipe veteran? Like what are those tips that really have taken you guys to another level?
I think my favorite tip I've ever been taught was how to scan for enemies. Back when I competed in PUBG, my coach was a Marine, and he taught us how to scan properly for enemies. And basically, it was right to left, or the opposite way of how you learn to read. And
Hmm.
so it's a way to trick your brain into spotting out the abnormalities or the things that aren't supposed to be there. And whenever you're just looking around normally, your brain will fill in the blanks. It's super powerful. It will just skip over the enemies, right? And so when you're watching someone and they just, they should have seen this guy, like he's out in the open, like how did they not see him? It's their brain just filled in that blank. But if you scan right to left, it forces your brain to actually like scan, and those people will stick out like a sore thumb. And so that once I train my brain to like actually, whenever I'm looking for enemies, it's right to left reset, right to left reset. Or if it's like a variable, like in a building, or not in a building, but if like I'm looking at a building that has multiple floors, or if it's like a hillside that has different degrees of elevation, it's in figure eight. So bottom right, top left, top right, bottom left, and it's just figure eight over and over again. But that's how I end up spotting people that might have been hard to see, or even if they're just out in the open, it gives me the heads up on them a lot of times.
Very well spoken. I only picked up that tip last wipe, and it's changed the way I play woods, like especially
Yep.
woods. I play a lot of indoor maps, shoreline labs. I usually know most of the pixels. Sun's out of place, I know, but woods especially, that has changed the game for me. Bams, what do you got? I'm sure you've got some tips as well.
Absolutely. My biggest thing, no offense to BSG, is keybinds, man. Those keybinds that you get from stock are absolutely atrocious. They'll get you killed more often than not. Like there's just so many little things that aren't ergonomic, and they're also just double bound with weird modifiers like left alt and stuff. So that's my number one thing I usually go through with everybody. Anybody that I've ever helped on stream or done tickets with or anything, like they're always like, "Oh man, I can't swing on people and I'm stuck." The biggest one is honestly, if I could switch every single person to shift continuous for sprint instead of shift press, so they don't do that little hockey stop every time they stop sprinting, and they don't do that little stutter, or they don't do that little stuck in the mud
Kill a
animation where
slide.
they kill a slide and flinch. Yeah, exactly. Like if I could help everybody and just switch that one thing to continuous so they can do that immediate shift to ADS and start shooting, um and just make it a whole lot smoother for them, like that would be probably number one. But then yeah, any other keybinds too, like doing all the smooth leans. Like I think Sheaf, I think you're a mouse leaner, right? Because you came from
Mhm.
PUBG.
Yep.
So like even I don't like to tell people how to live their life if they came from PUBG, but if you're a mouse leaner, you can still make use of the smooth leans too, right? Like add a little modifier and use that still. And just the little tricks and tips that
Yeah, like
keybind make better.
I have to set to turn on and off my tactical device,
Right.
and so
Oh,
because like I don't want to run around with a flashlight or laser on 24/7. It's going to give me
Exactly.
away.
no.
But I do like turning the flashlight on in the middle of a fight, or if I plan on swinging on someone, like having the quick access to it, is big. And I know, like no generals, he likes E as a slow lean, and then his mouse on peak as well, and that way he gets like a bonus speed peak. And
Right.
so like there's a lot of these little tips that you can do with keybinds, like Bam said, that is um, it it's more user friendly and more ergonomics as well, and so it's just it runs smoother and you end up playing a lot better because of it.
Yeah, like well, even like your flashlight tip, I know because I've done the keybinds with people a million times over. Key is default, single press to turn lights on and off, but then it's like I think it's like left alt and T or something to switch mode. I just tell everyone to change it to T double press. And then if they want to cycle through their
Yeah.
modes, they just double tap T, and it's so much easier in your brain to be thinking, oh, I just press the same button twice when I want to switch modes, once to turn on and off, rather than adding in all these other buttons or complexities that don't need to exist.
That's really important key bindings. I actually was an Arma 3 player for longer than I'd like to admit, which has a very in-depth combat system in terms of stances, and so I'm used to the difficult keybinds. So I actually, for the most part, run default key bindings, with the only one being changes:
Ew.
press L to check chamber and release L to clear jam.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah.
but I do have many
That's
buttons
crazy.
bound to my mouse, including crouch, lean, discard, and shoulder swap are all on my mouse, for doing some of the more complex movement stuff that I like to
Okay.
do.
Where do you put
Uh,
your scope stuff?
it's actually still on alt right click, because that's what it was in
No.
Arma 3. Arma 3 had
Huh.
that. I have never once had an issue with it, but I'll go ahead and
Interesting.
reveal my hours. It was 10,000 hours on Arma 3, so it's second
I mean,
nature at
muscle
this
memory
point.
goes hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Exactly.
I still have my meds on 8, 9, and 0, and people ask all the time, like, why do you do
Really?
that? And yeah, well, in PUBG, you have the Molotov grenades, regular frag grenades, stun, smoke, and then 3 different types of meds. And so you would like, if you know, for me, I had it on 4, 5, 6, 7 for the grenades, and then 8, 9, 0 for meds. And because you're not ever like trying to do quick stims,
Oh yeah.
you're going to be behind cover and stuff like that. And so, but I can reach it while still pressing WASD. And so I'll still have
Really?
my finger. Yeah, I just reach over with my thumb and hit it.
Yeah. Swinging
Um,
the thumb up kind of thing. Yeah.
Yep. And it's muscle memory. I know exactly like how to press it, and I don't fumble between them and stuff like that. And so uh, it works out well. It's a weird keybind, but my body's used to it. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't. If it works, it works, right?
For me, I had to move crouch to my mouse because when I was trying to get good at the game, one of the PvPers that was teaching me, he called it a crouch peak, and essentially what he told me to do was build up my momentum, because most people don't know your PMC isn't moving at full speed the second you hit shift. It takes them a minute to get up. And then right as my head comes around the corner and they're about to take my head off, I have to break sprint, crouch, and then lean, so my head height changes 3 different times, and now I'm crouched, so I get reduced recoil. But because all those are on one side of the keyboard, lean, D, and crouch, I had to rebound crouch to my mouse just to be able to perform that movement. So,
Yeah. And I tell people all the time, like when you're going to peek out of doorways, do it when you're standing up, and then as you go to peek out the doorway, crouch. And that way, if someone's holding you and they, you peek out, your head goes down, they shoot over your head, and you're returning fire while you're crouched.
and then that
And
reduced
so,
recoil while crouched, oh,
yep,
you'll
Mm-hmm.
big
beam.
difference.
You will
Massive.
beam people. One of the tips that I was actually giving out last night, we were just hanging out in the hub, and he was in a 1-on-2 scenario, and I was like, feel them out. He's like, what do you mean? And I'm like, so you know this guy's a shotgun because you heard him kill a scab, and I'm like, I want you to figure out what kind of player this guy is, because I'm sure you guys don't think about your aim now. You already have, at this point, good crosshair placement. You aren't sitting there thinking, I need to pull down 3 inches on this spray. It's just muscle memory. But I was like,
Mhm.
I want you to sprint into that wall, and then I want you to peek it. And I'm like, I'm doing this to see, is this guy going to swing into you when he hears sprinting? Is he smart enough to do that? And I was like, do that a second time. Okay, he didn't swing you. You now know that you can sprint right up to his door, and he's not going to pop out. He's just going to sit in that room. Then you can free look past him and spray him down. But a big PvP tip for me is actually to figure out what kind of opponent you're versing. Is he as aggressive as you? Is he more passive than you? Is he super passive? What are we dealing with here? And then what are our options? If we can get a right hand, that's great. But if we're going to be pushing this guy, what can we expect?
Yeah, no, that's not bad. And I think that's why a lot of people do this sprint past doorways, like sprint pass, sprint pass, sprint pass. Whenever I'm doing it, whenever I watch someone do the sprints, it always cracks me up because I'm like, I'm about to take your head. Like I'm gonna let you go past once, let you go past the second time. That third time, I'm popping a shot before you get to that doorway again. And you'd be surprised how many times I end up dropping someone. Most players won't get that shot, but you gotta time it with the footsteps and knowing that, like, okay, like he just ran past, and he's gonna do it a third time and then pre-fire it, and yeah, you can drop him on that third sprint a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a good way to get, especially at higher level strength and endurance, you can actually move pretty quickly across the doorways, and so it's a good way to get fillers out and see who you're dealing with it. And if you're dealing with just one person or multiple, that's a big one too. Is like trying to get as much information before you pull the trigger or before you engage the fight, knowing how many people you're dealing with so you can do it accordingly. Especially if you're solo, there's almost always going to be a duo or a trio. Like there's the rule of one more. There's always one more.
There's always one more. Yeah.
Every
And
time.
so, just so you know, if you treat it like, okay, if this guy was not solo, this guy was not a duo, like there's one more hiding there somewhere, and then think, where would I be if I was them? Then, because they're not always going to be stacked up on top of each other. Like when you're
Right.
doing a trio, like you're going to be like, okay, one go loot this spot, one go loot this spot, one go loot this spot, and then where would those people be coming from once their teammates engaged with? And so, making sure that your flanks covered and you're not overexposing yourself while you're trying to gather that information. And if you can do it efficiently and quickly, as you're rolling up to the area, usually, like you mentioned, the guy just shot a scav with a shotgun, and it's like, okay, is he a Timmy and that's all the weapon he has, or is this dude doing setup?
Mhm.
Is dude, shotgun players, they're scary to fight because it's so random. It's like they might shoot you once and you're going to lose all your limbs and be a quarter of HP, or they might not pin anything and you are still full HP. And so, yeah, it's you hear that suppressed MDR popping off. It's like, okay, we probably got, or the HK or M4 or something. It's like, okay, like probably, a higher tier kit. But the shotguns is like, you don't know. This guy could be literally day one, or could be someone on setup looking for any fight they can get.
Not the
And
piranha slugs.
Dude, I was gonna say, yeah,
Not the
piranha with some pellet
piranha.
RNG, bro. That pellet RNG is scary.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh yeah, you never know what to expect. I know we were talking about it earlier before started. Sheaf, you were talking about rotations on like labs and stuff like that.
Mhm.
Going into that, predicting rotations. I'm sure you've
Yep.
had a moment where you're like, this guy, I just killed 2 or I just killed 1. I hear him up here. He's probably gonna rotate down to here, and then you're just lying in wait, and then he pops out, and you just go, I
Read
lived
it.
rent free in that
Yeah.
guy's mind. Just rent
Scripted.
free.
So,
Scripted.
dude, I had a play like that on labs the other day, and I think that's what separates good players from great players, is being able to predict your opponent's movement, and then map out A, B, and C options for you, and be like, okay, they're most likely to do this, so I'm going to set up for A, and but be able to move if the B happens, and then worst case scenario, it's like C, I'm ready to flick. And then you map out your disengagements, because labs is great for always having an out. You can make flank plays. Unless you're in 1 of 3 rooms, you're not backed into a corner, and so like you can always make a play. And on labs, I was in parking. I got lit up, hit twice in the chest by high tier ammo, brought me down into the red on my chest. And I was like, okay, I need to disengage. So I went into the metal staircase, and the staircase goes down into the basement. It's a U shape. You go down, right, down again. And so I went in the staircase and I sprinted, and I sprinted into the wall, and I just kept sprinting back and forth. I was like, this guy's going to think that I'm running away. He damaged me. He's going to aggress. And there was 3 of them. One hit me from far, one was close, and he was voiping. He's like, where you running? And he ran in, was fully focused down the staircase. He thought I went down, and I was sitting right next to his side, and I shot him in the side. And I was like, okay, now what are his teammates going to do, right? They're going to think that I'm either here, or maybe I can trick him into thinking that I'm trying to grab his gear and get out. And so I looted him up quickly, ran downstairs, went straight to the button, pressed the button, went and called the elevator, and ran back to cover the entrance to where they'd be coming from. Sure enough, they came just sprinting down the staircase, caught them both mid-run, dropped them both. And they ended up coming into chat, and they're like, yeah, dude, we thought you were leaving. Like, we thought you were deucing out with his gear. And so being able to predict what your opponents are doing in their flank plays, and like if they tag you up and they're hyper aggressive, then you can catch them mid sprint. And if you're outnumbered, sometimes disengaging, waiting for that first one to catch up, killing them, and then utilizing grenades as your duo, put a grenade out, disengage out again, and constantly trying to flank a 90-degree angle and hit him in the side. Your last known location of them is here at A, but you're now at B, 90 degrees to the side, and you hit him in the side. It makes for very, very satisfying PvP.
Oh yeah, and I actually saw this clip. I can't remember if it was on TikTok or if I was there in your stream when it happened. But one thing I'd like to touch on is when you did that play, I was sitting there just like smiling ear to ear. I'm like, this is a good play because you specifically did the exact amount of steps it would have taken you to go down those metal stairs.
Yeah, no,
And I'm like,
I played it in my mind. I'm like, okay, I just ran down to the right, down again. I'm done.
yep.
And
I
I
was
sat
like,
there and waited.
this
Yep.
is gonna work. I would fall for this. I would fall for this. Even.
Yeah, I
yeah,
would
I
have
would've
too,
too.
honestly. Yeah,
Yep.
especially because like you know, you would expect someone to maybe be waiting there, and when they enter that door, they're gonna have 1 of 3 areas that they need to clear first, and they're gonna check that first left corner, right corner, and then maybe where I'm at. But at that point, it's too late. And they have a left-hand peek into my right-hand peek. You know, you mentioned it earlier. The right-hand peaks are dominant, and so if you can narrow that advantage down to you, you're good. And so that was a very satisfying play. And Labs is full of that. There's so many different potential plays that you can make on any engagement that it's great. Leads to a lot of unique PvP.
BAMBZ, do you have any other things to add on to that?
No, I think that's really well said. Yeah, it's awesome that you can, you know, put yourself in other people's shoes. I think that's the biggest thing is like you've played the game enough, you understand, you know, how people think and how people play. Once you figure out the caliber of the player, you know, generally on Labs, obviously a little bit of a higher caliber, you can expect them to know, you know, certain peaks, certain plays. And then yeah, just knowing what their options are and then countering those options. It's just chess with guns. That's all it is.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
a lot of fun. Yeah.
I love
a great
those
way to put it.
chess. I love those chess battles because I mean, as much as it feels good to get the crispy one tap that you get off or someone gets off on you, I prefer actually having those chess battles where it's like, okay, I gotta outthink you now. Like, what are my
Mhm.
options? What are your options? What's my best play? What's your best play? How do I play this? And a lot of that goes into map knowledge. And I tell people this all the time, like getting good movement mechanics down, you know, knowing how to right hand peek where you only expose, you know, this much of you versus your whole head.
100%.
Figuring out your good movement will help you on any map. But figuring out the map is what takes you from being an okay player at the map to being a good player to even people take it as far as being a great player. Because there's a difference between someone who's even played Labs for 2 wipes versus someone who's played Labs for 6 wipes. I guarantee that 6 wipe Labs guy, he knows one every pixel, and he probably at that point knows at least 99% of the playbook. I always say there's that 1% you don't know, but they know the playbook.
Yeah, 10,000 hours is not mastery in Tarkov though, so we're still on our way. You know, we're still learning. There's still more things to do for sure.
15,000 hours. I'm still learning something new every single day I play, like without a doubt.
Exactly. I think it's
And
100,000
it's
for
micro
Tarkov.
stuff. Yeah, right. It's micro stuff, but all those little things do add up. You might not find yourself in that situation again for a while, but when you do, you're like, I know what to do here.
Yeah,
I know what
remember
play
that
I can
time.
do. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's me in resort. I love my labs, but I tell people in resort there's very little I haven't seen at this point. I always say very little because there's always one more, but there's not a lot left for me to see.
Yeah,
Someone will
dorms
show
for
me
me.
something. If we don't have any other tips, if you guys got any more before we transition into some clip review.
Not that I can think of. No.
Yeah, I'm ready when you are.
All right. So we had for everybody who's just tuning in, we had the community send in clips for us to review. So we're gonna kind of pick them apart, say, hey, we love this. This is a little bit that we would work on. You know, this was risky. You know, just give a breakdown on what we really see from your skill level, ranging from people who are just getting into the game to people who are one of the like one or two of these clips are from one of my mates who is in top 8 in Hunt, so very high caliber player. But let's get into that. All right. So with the first clip of the day here,
1 second. I'm not seeing.
you not seeing it right now?
I don't think stream is seeing it yet either.
I haven't put it up yet. No, that's
Oh, okay, that would be why.
yeah. I was just saying, first clip of the day. This was sent in
Okay, yeah.
by one of our members of the hub, and we'll watch it first. And if you guys need to pause it or go back to any point, feel free.
Sorry. Bro, there was a guy right there the entire time, so...
I don't have leg ammos.
That no painkiller is a tough situation to be in.
Stop.
Yep.
Oh yeah, I like that he's staying calm. He knows he has a right hand here. He hears the stem pop.
Nice. Should be it.
Yeah, that wide swing, let him get it off.
Yep.
Dude, what is that, dude? Such...
All
The
right.
natural reaction to dying in Tarkov.
Yep.
So if we're going back, this first kill I was actually informed was a team kill, but when he gets stuck behind this, what do you guys like about this clip? What do you guys don't like about this clip?
First, I mean, Bam's mentioned it. No painkiller. In Tarkov, I think I'm bad at this on not always being pre-pained. For a while there, with how it'd make the stream look all pixelated and stuff because of Twitch bit rate and whatnot, I would just run around with a morphine, always hotkeyed, or a Propatil. But now, I think it's in a good middle ground where it gives you the painkiller, turns the outside edge of your screen grayscale, but you're not. It doesn't look bad. And so I think you should always be pre-pained, especially on labs, because it's such a small map. You're almost guaranteed to get any engagement, and you don't want to be caught limping around. Because on your opponent's screen, you're not sitting there doing the bobble effect. On your screen, you are. And so the second you go to step and you're aimed down sight, your reticle is going to be bouncing all over the place, and it makes for very difficult shots to hit. So always be pre-pained. And if you're not going to be pre-pained 24/7, have it hotkeyed. Don't make it to where you got a tab, then click on your the injector's case, and then click the stem. Have it hotkeyed. That would have immediately made that situation 10 times better. But he did stay cool, calm, and collected. He got behind hard cover. He held the right hand peak and waited for the person to come out. And I think that was well played at that point. The guy reacted too when he heard, you mentioned it too. He heard the stem. He went for the swing. Stems are a hard one because it's only a 2-second cast time. And unless you are where you can immediately react and you're very, very quick with it, right there, boom. By the time he got to see his opponent, the guy already had his gun back out and was ready to shoot.
For sure. Painkilling right there, like Bam said, would have saved a lot of trouble here. Like I mentioned, I like they stayed calm because he notices he has 3, I believe it's 3 light bleeds right there, which Thank God they're not heavy bleeds. This would have been a different ball game had those been heavy bleeds. But I do really like how he stayed calm there. And then going into this swing in here, what do you guys feel like he should have done differently after he gets this initial kill?
James, you want to go?
Yeah, so his honestly, yeah, he had good shots on the guy that swung out. The guy that swung out obviously swung a little wider than he should have, but his push was good. Can I just see it one more time, like how he
Yes.
at the very end? Like that's a good door check. And then yeah, he shifts a little too long. Like you can see he's still just barely getting his gun up as he rounds the corner. Like his feet aren't quite planted. Yeah, see like his scope is still swaying and he has to like try to like mid animation of the sway get on target as well. If he had just aimed like a split second earlier and like been at head height and ready to shoot, he might have been able to get that extra bullet in to his enemy.
For sure. A little bit wide on the swing, but I think it's because he didn't know where he was at, which I think was part of the issue here. I think he was coming in a little aggressive. Me personally, I would have actually stopped here at this water cooler and taken just this right hand and just cleared out all the way to this corner. And then I probably would have done something similar. Not saying I would have lived, because this is a left-hand swing. It's just hard to tell if he had the information. There was for sure a second guy, but the way he swings this with intent, I feel like is good, but I feel like he was missing just one piece of the puzzle too many.
Yeah. I like that he had his flashlight on. That was big for clearing that out. I think in any CQB situation, pop that flashlight on. It'll be your biggest advantage you can do. They're cheap. You should literally have them on in every single fight. And I'd say put it on the right side of your gun if you're primarily doing right swings, or even have two and one on each side of the gun. It's twice the brightness, and that way whenever you are first pushing around the corner, the flashlight's the first thing that gets around the corner, and it starts blinding your opponent before they'll see you. Because if it's on the left side of the gun and you do a right hand peek, they're gonna see your shoulder before the flashlight.
For sure.
And so I like that he had it on. That was big. But like on that second peek right there, having the flashlight on the left side could have made a difference.
It just kind of levels the playing field too, because where that guy's already holding this corner, you're saying that flashlight is just going to blind them, give you that split second to find them, and maybe not take a shot, have them maybe whiff that first shot.
Me personally, those double flashlights, dude, I can see pretty good through a single flashlight, but those when someone hits me with a double blinder, I'm just sitting here going,
it's a spray and pray.
I'm taking a guess. I'm just taking a guess.
Yeah.
It's somewhere over there.
At the ray of Jesus that's being pointed at you. Yeah.
Honestly, he played it really well. I like the aggressive play. Whenever he went to heal, he healed up his chest and head, making sure he had the two vitally important parts topped off, and then he went for the aggressive push. And this right here, this fight, it's a 50-50. And unfortunately, he was on the death end of the stick, but he did it well. I respect the play. Definitely a labs player, you can tell with the aggression and staying cool, calm, and collected, even at being at what 30 HP or whatever he is at.
Exactly.
It was bad for a minute.
Yeah, less than 100 for sure.
I would like fighting this player, right? This is a fun player to fight, and so it's a part of Tarkov. You're gonna lose the fights just as many times as you'll win them, but he went down swinging, which is cool.
Some of the best players I know only have about a 50% survival rate. Some of the best. Just you will take an L if you play this game. It doesn't matter how good you are, you will take an L at some point, even if you're doing a lot of things right. All right, and if we want to get into the next clip, do you guys think that's enough, or do you guys have anything else to comment on before we go into the next clip?
That sight that he's using, it's inaccurate. I would have swapped it out. I would do the UH-1 over, if I'm not mistaken, that is the Batman sight, right? Yeah. So
that's the new HCO.
The HCO, yeah.
Yeah, that shoots low. And
low
so
and left, actually, too.
Yeah, like if you have the reticle right on his head at that point, you're going to be hitting him upper thorax. And so if you know that and you play it accordingly, not bad. It's a beautiful sight, but it does shoot low. And so that's why I personally don't like using it, because you have that natural tendency to aim right where the reticle is, right? Let your brain do that. Like don't fight that. Don't add in an extra thing to have to account for.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Aren't all 1Xs hitting low currently? If I'm correct, I believe
Some
one
more than
especially.
others.
Yeah, this one low and left, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, some more than others. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's a zeroing thing. Like sites are zeroed for 25 to 50 meters depending on the site. And so if you're, closer than that, yeah, it's going to shoot a little low. But this one especially, it rides low
me
or
personally,
shoots
I
low, I
love
guess.
the voodoo, but the FPS that it takes away when you ADS sometimes is not the best. That
Yeah.
double rendering.
Render stuff. Yeah.
Like on streets, I always catch myself as like, do I want to rock a red dot and not hit the FPS drop? But I know I'll find myself in that situation where I'm like, dang, I wish I had that long range scope. That
Yeah,
would have been the
yeah.
difference maker.
That voodoo or that razor. Sometimes
Yep.
you just want it, and sometimes, especially on streets, like you said, you just can't take the FPS hit.
Yeah.
All right, let's transition into that next clip.
Hopefully with new Unity though, we'll get better frames here on streets.
Hopefully. That was a bit of a shorter clip, so let's slow that down a little bit. He runs up the door, he opens it, gets eyes on the target.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, really good.
He didn't like I mentioned earlier with the sprint pass. Like a lot of times people will do the sprint pass,
Mhm.
and they just keep doing it, trying to bait out shots. And a good player will take your head doing that. He didn't even give him that chance. He gave him no chance. That was textbook right there on how to pre-fire. I maybe would have done it out of a right hand peek, but sometimes catching your opponent off guard, not like I guarantee that other guy, even if he's a high tier player, he's expecting him to do another sprint pass.
Yeah.
He was not ready for the left hand pre-fire. And the shot was beautifully placed. He knew exactly where he needed to aim and he executed it. That was textbook.
For me, I will say I thought this was a little risky coming up here and touching this door, because I'm usually used to people watching this hallway, and I'd be afraid to get sprayed down here, but
Yeah.
it pays off for him. He opens this up to where you can do what you're talking about, Sheep, where you free look back and forth. He only does it once, but with this door closed, I always pre-open this door because I know I like to do this kind of play. But having to open that door is super risky, but it ends up paying off for him amazingly here.
I just assumed that he had extra information because there's a lot of dead bodies right there. And since we can't see the full clip, like I'm assuming he didn't just straight up run right in and then go straight to open that door. Like he probably was in here first floor and or third floor, heard a bunch of shooting go down, or maybe was here first and then had these guys roll up from the back staircase. You're going to hear the metal footsteps on the back stairs. And I assume he knew that there wasn't a player to the right side. Because usually when I go up there, I want to take a quick peek down right hallway because it's a shorter hallway, very easy to clear. There's two spots that there'll likely be, one on the right side, one on the left. And so it's a very quick and easy peek clear. And then you peek down left hallway and you're checking the right wall where it ends and opens up into the big square. Then you're checking the pillar, and then you're checking on top of that locker. Um, and so it's a very easy and methodical way to clear it. But if you already know that there's a guy down on that left hallway, and you can get that sprint across, and especially with that door being open, that door being open is clutch. It makes it to where he can sprint across, touch that door, and then sprint back across, and it leaves a very narrow gap that he could get hit from. If that door's closed, that would have been an extremely risky sprint across, and a good player probably would have lit him up. He's pain killed though, and so it's not like he's going to get caught hobbling. But yeah, no, that would have been pretty risky. You're not wrong.
Yeah. Better sight too. Better sight. No flashlight this time, but better sight.
Yeah, a flashlight would have helped there for sure.
I especially like BAMBZ, you talked about this in the first clip, because right now he's actually entering his ADS animation. The timing of this, the second he breaks this door frame, he's already starting his ADS animation, so his gun is ready at the exact moment he needs this to be ready.
Yeah, no extra step or anything. He is flawless.
And he knew he was pulling the trigger here too. It's not like I'm gonna aim down sight and try to spawn him. He's like, as soon as I come out of this door, I'm aiming down sight, pulling the trigger, and then keep moving. Because as soon as he's done shooting, he's getting behind cover again.
Yeah,
He
so
just shoots and he's
fully committed to it.
gone.
yeah, like
Gone.
he knew. That was very well played.
Yes, very. This is definitely one of the higher level players playing right here, and this is what I really love about Tarkov is that when you analyze someone's movement, especially, because I mean his aim was great here, like no surprise there, but even just his movement, you can tell instantly this is a high level player, and he knows exactly what he's doing, and he does everything with intention. There is an intent behind every step that he does here.
Yep.
Is there anything else you want to go on before we go into the next clip?
No, it was
That's
good.
solid.
Yeah, very calculated.
I believe this is a reserve. Yes.
Oh, this is my home.
Oh, we love the bunker, don't we?
I kind of miss old reserve. I'm not gonna lie, when people would PvP upstairs, but it is still a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I like the flashlight use.
I need them to give me a button to flood the basement though and send everybody above ground.
Ooh, that would be cool.
Turning into a cluster down here.
That flashlight, so good.
Yes, that is the end of the clip right there. So first thoughts.
Sloppy fight. He won it though, and that's all that really matters. The second guy he killed, I didn't see if he killed the first one on that peak, but where they like sprinted into each other, was awkward. You know, like when you can hug your opponent, it gets dicey. But
he does.
He played it well. He immediately, stopped, backed it up, went for the point fire instead of aim down sight, which I think was nice. Still don't like the sight choice, but I thought overall, not bad. And then keeping the right hand peek against the second guy, to wait to see if he pushed. I don't remember on that final kill if I think he actually did go into the left hand peek. That's where that flashlight on that left side would have been so clutch. Is that flashlight on the right side? You can see like very clearly in this clip.
It's on the right.
Yeah, that it doesn't work fully whenever he's going against that peak. And if it's on that left side, that opponent's going to be blinded before he even has a chance on seeing him. And when you're doing a left hand peek, it is very, very, very clutch. I personally, instead of doing that peek right there on that final guy, I would have sprinted across to the generator and did a right hand peek off that.
Yeah, through the room where he killed the other guy.
Yeah,
where he hugged him. Yeah, that would have been a smarter push for sure.
It worked here for him. So like we said in Tarkov, it's just not. This is very nitpicky, right?
Yeah.
But that would have been a little bit safer. But he won the fight, and so I like the P90, man. That's a fun gun. Very fun gun.
It's a laser beam.
The mag packing's not so fun, but
No, I'd bring in like 6 mags. And I'm like, I'm not. Same with like the AKs, 6 rounders. I was like, I'm not repacking this in game.
Yeah.
I'm bringing in.
Yeah,
extra.
I have the little countdown music that plays whenever I sit and pack one of those. Yeah.
Me personally, the door that's on the other side of this wall right here, on his right, there's a gap between that door, and with a short barreled P90 like this, he could actually get a right hand from between the gap of the door and this wall to kill that second player, if he knows he's not rushing, which I really like. For me personally, this first jitter peek right here, let me go back a little further. Is this it? This right here, I am not a fan of this because this is what I call hovering. He comes out here and he kind of hovers out here. If this is a good player,
you're dead.
He just dies here. He just dies.
Yeah.
He should be coming out, ducking back in real quick, or committing to come out.
Yeah.
This is scary to me. This is not something that I typically do, and I try to get people against this because this is a left hand, like I just call it a hover.
Yeah, just an overextension. Really, he came a little too far to that doorway. Yeah,
and you can do an animation cancel basically to where if you do A, and then when you go out of the doorway, you lean back in, and the game will cancel the animation on you going left, and it's going to now read you going right. And so it's a good way to go in and out of doorways quickly to quickly scan like that. And so you mentioned it. You want to go in and out quickly, not hover a full body peek. He did go out with his flashlight on, and that wasn't bad, but it still it opens you up to getting shot, and you want to try to minimize those as much as possible, right?
Might have even
Um,
saved him the flashlight. Might have been the only reason
yeah,
he lived.
yep,
Yeah.
And then also this peak right here. I do not like the ADS into this left hand because, like you said, your right eye dominated. You can't see out of your left eye. And the thing is
shoulder
here
swap.
on this, like I guarantee on this frame right here, this guy already sees him and sees his
Yep,
head. And because he's slow moving, because he's ADS'd, I feel like against a really good player, he dies before he even sees this guy. Like against a really high level player,
the
you
pre-fire.
just don't
Yeah.
get to live, especially with the flashlight on the right. It's gonna tell before he even gets around the corner.
Yeah, like this frame right here, you can see with the flashlight on the right, you see the shadow pushed out from the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If the flashlight's on the left, there's no shadow there, and it's just going to be hitting your opponent. And so that's that. I always preach two flashlights, turn them on in every CQB situation. I don't like flashlight fights. It devolves the PvP into spray and pray battle, and it turns it into RNG. Whoever gets lucky and hits the headshot, or can spray center mass and hope that it pins. But it is a game mechanic that you should be taking advantage of, and putting two on your guns allows you to be able to see still, and your opponent they're going to see the sun. That's it.
Agreed.
One thing I would mention on this is the duo he's playing against, and the guys on the first clip we saw. They're allowing this guy to take 1v1s.
Yeah.
And when
Yep.
you're solo, that you're looking to take that. You want the 1v1v1v1. You don't want to fight 1v5. You want to try to take these opponents one at a time. And these guys should have played their numbers. That's massively important as a duo, trio, squad, whatever. You play your numbers. That's the thing you have going for you. And
I
so this guy being so far away from the fight and the second guy engaging, it just allowed this guy to pick him apart. And
Yeah.
so if the this guy's closer, it makes it to where even if the P90 guy kills the first guy, he's getting hit in the side from the second.
Yeah. You can
And
catch the
so
trade.
you
Yeah.
trade out. Yep. And that trade outs aren't great in Tarkov because downtime, and now you got to get your teammates kit out and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
half of those times you'll kill the guy before he gets your teammate as well. And so you want to play the numbers, and if you can keep the guy's attention on point A while point B attacks, that's ideal. And point A, if they're good, they won't risk their life. They just keep the attention. Flashlight, quick pre-fire peek, or even just like walking and keeping the eyes drawn on point A. And when your opponent has a flashlight on, you can tell where he's looking. And so he's like, yeah, he's focused on me. You can push up a little bit. Yeah, he's focused on me. And then, oh, he's looking your way. And that's when you peek and pre-fire a little bit, right? And so utilizing your numbers as a duo is massively important. Don't go in each fight 1v1. You might as well be playing solo.
Yeah. Exactly.
So,
Can't
I-
shoot twice or shoot
Yeah.
two targets, I should say, simultaneously. Yeah.
I always say whenever I'm playing with people, because I tend to be a solo player, every occasion I'll do a duo. If you're doing with me, I want you to play not on me. I don't want you standing on me. That's just annoying too. But like, play off of me. Like, you play off of me in some form or fashion, whether it be I'm gonna cover your flank and just let me take my 1v1s. Or if you're gonna rotate, like you said, and do some duo plays, pinch these guys. Let's double swing this guy. Like, good. I see that too often in Tarkov, that players are, and I don't know if this is where it has come from, but I feel like it stems from they don't want to be the one that dies, so they end up giving 1v1s like this. They don't want to swing because they could die, and then their teammate should trade them. But I see oftentimes squads will not utilize their numbers. Sometimes you have to be willing to send a few resources to get a guy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And even like nade placements and Overwatch and everything. There's just so many different things. Like for this duo right here, the if this guy that he's aiming at right now was just a little bit closer and in the corner square room instead of being down that hallway, could have potentially helped on the fight that his teammate died in, or he could have pushed up a little bit, and then the guy that the P90 guy killed first could have just baited off of the generator and forced this guy to make the play, force this guy's
Yeah.
hand,
Could have caught him on the reload.
let him make the mistake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was just about to point out. He doesn't even reload in this clip, so if he is close enough, he trades this in easily for free. Like,
Yep.
it sucks that your teammate died, but that's better than both of you dying. It's better than this guy getting 2 1v1s. Force the 2v1. If you're playing with more than just yourself, force the 2v1 or force the 3v1. Use your numbers to pin people and pressure them. If you're playing as a solo, I always say this, make sure you got an escape plan. You always need an escape plan. Especially if you're versing 2, 3, 4 man, you need to have an out. Even if that means
And if
breaking your legs, shatter them, get out.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to play patient enough, like the guy down the hallway to the right and slow play it, the guy on this left side go up the P90 guy was hyper aggressive, so not really a guy you could do this against because I'm sure he would push the guy on the right for a 1v1. But send that guy on the flank. It's up the ramp, down the hallway to the left, down the staircase, and now you got this guy pinched. And that could force 1v1s as well, but then you hold him at a right-hand angle and wait for him to push. The second he does, take him out.
You at least limit his options if you do that. Because
Yep.
right now he can push right, he can push left, he can go back into office, he can run up the stairs and come to the ramp. This guy's got more or less the whole map available to him.
You're also making him uncomfortable too, right? Because right now he's kind of commanding the fight and dictating how it goes. Whereas the second you send a guy on a flank, now he's on his back foot. He has to try to, shuffle and make it work.
Yeah, if you do what Sheef said and send that guy up ramp, have him come down, I believe it's White Pawn Stairs is what we call it.
Yeah.
This guy now has to play office or he has to retreat through water. And we all know how much it sucks to take the slow, leisurely walk through that water.
The whole map hears you trenching through that stuff. Yeah. Bad.
At the end of the day, the P90 guy won the fight. And so, well played. And, again, this is being very nitpicky on it. So, like, not every fight is going to be clean like that. It gets sloppy. And as long as you take the dub, you take the dub. Doesn't matter how you get it done, really.
Not every fight's going to be perfect, but I do like to be picky and break down fights because this is how you improve as a higher level player, is even when you win, you find your mistakes. Even when you win, there's a mistake that was made. But if you guys are ready, I think it's a good time to move on to that next clip.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Kind of in a tough spot here.
Yeah, that pole's getting a workout.
That pole is doing God's work right there. I believe that is all for that clip. Not a very lengthy clip there. But I brought this for a reason because he actually does get the kill here. I talked to this guy. He actually does get this kill here, but there was a second one. He ends up dying to it. But I really like that when faced with a difficult situation here, he does not panic. He finds the only available cover that is available to him.
Good use of cover too, yeah.
Yeah, even jitters behind it.
I like that he ducked his head down and it minimizes your profile. And that because like that hole right there, you got the rectangle chunk and then it turns into the cylinder. If he's sitting up like this, his head's exposed. Whenever he ducks down, he's behind that chunk. And so like that was good. Not pre-pained. Doesn't have a keybind for a pre-pain. So if you're not going to be pre-pained 24/7, have that keybind. Because if you are pre-pained there, you can get the duck behind that and or immediately sprint and start bunny hopping back across. And as soon as you make it past that train, there's a lot of hardcover options to get to.
Exactly.
He's not far away from them. And so that would have opened the opportunity up. And because he's not pre-pained, he is now stuck on a very difficult fight. Because if he does try and jump across, he doesn't have his leg broke. I don't think.
Nope. Still got his legs at this point at
Yeah,
least.
and so he's able to still make moves and get to this, but he's overexposed, and if he did try and make a run across, then the chance of getting it's like right there. That is a risky movement. But
Yeah, like you said, though, a little B hop to the left of that train would be really, really smart.
yep.
For me, I was actually debating this, and I wanted to get you guys' take on this. B-hopping to the train versus getting down here and playing the defilade where you can see the top of their heads. The train gives you more options, but the defilade's closer by, because I feel like he could jump to this bush and prone and then watch the heads to come over the horizon.
Just doesn't have any hard cover.
Yeah, I think in that situation, like if I'm getting shot at, I'm just trying to find, like my eye instantly goes to the left there, like just instinctively, like that's where I would be going is bunny hopping left.
The problem with the right is you're open to nades, and
that's true. Good point.
Because like if I'm that far player, I would probably peek up once or twice, but I would more than likely back up and just Hail Mary a nade his way. And I rock M67s. They got a wide explosion radius, so like that's what I would do personally.
Deceptively wide.
Game, in the game.
Especially max strength, dude. You hit him with the aerial strikes, and so
at the air burst too.
Yeah. But going to the right wouldn't necessarily be bad, and you do have the trees that you could potentially get to and play off of. And it's not necessarily the biggest advantage to have high ground, because the top of your head's going to be coming out of cover first, and so the person on the low ground will have a slight peek of you before you'll see them, and so it wouldn't be the worst. I would probably play off this hard cover in front of him before I'd go down into the defilade to the right. But option one, I would have bunny hopped across that, and a good player is going to hit you. You're probably going to get tagged up pretty heavy. They might not hit the headshot, and with how the armor's working now, they're likely not going to get the kill on you bunny hopping across. It's going to take a very, very good shot or some really high tier ammo. Most players aren't rocking that really high tier ammo.
We were actually.
I would say that the guy that was shooting at him is probably like a mid-level player, because he's kind of rushing his shots and just hitting the pole.
We actually played in a tourney called Nation v Nation against like the Koreans and the Chinese and the OCE, and the game was to basically, after a certain amount of time, you could grab a 6-cylinder GL at the top of Fortress, and if you emptied the mag, you won. It was just empty the mag and you win instantly. You couldn't grab it at a certain amount of time, and I know you guys were talking about M67s. We figured out that you can throw an M67 from the green container by Crack House all the way to this train in front of him, because the other spawn was spawned at behind old gas. You can
chuck them. Yeah, max strength. You got some serious arm strength.
Oh yeah, I chucked one. I killed a guy who was streaming too, so I got it from his perspective. But I chucked it from Violet Hut, as you kind of enter, Sawmill on Woods. Violet Hut all the way to the rock on the far side, down by water, like
oh no, you're talking literally beach rock.
No, like left, the beach rock. Yeah, exactly. Like the little sniper overlook there. He was just in front of that rock, and all you heard was the grenade come in, and it exploded literally the second it hit the ground. Like it was perfectly timed. But that M67 is just too good.
That's got to be 80 meters, right? It's got to be 80 meters.
It felt like it was far. I mean, I was slightly elevated, so yeah, obviously
Uncle Rico'd it.
Further. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, right over the mountain, baby. It was good.
All right. Do we have any other comments on this? Because after this, I believe this is our last clip coming up.
It was a really good shot on the guy he killed. Like, I didn't even catch it the first time around.
I didn't either.
No. Yeah, no, that was a really good shot. Other than that, no.
Last clip of the day.
Yeah.
Got some dorms action.
Best place to fight in the game.
I'm inside 3 stories, second floor.
Yep.
Parcel.
I'm watching 3. They're up on metal stairs right now.
Good comms too.
Oh, they're up above me?
Calm down.
Yeah, they're on metal stairs.
Ice cream side?
Yes.
Coffee.
We now know metal stairs ice cream side.
I'm gonna push up the third.
There's somebody up here.
One dead. He's ratting in the fucking corner. Like a little con.
Yep, the other one's on the right. Bait him out, maybe.
That was an odd spot for that guy to be.
Yeah.
I've never seen someone
always get
there.
caught by those railings too, every time.
You get him?
You just eat them.
I've
Level
never
1000 armor.
understood why the stairs are so
Good shit.
bulletproof.
Oh, that's nice.
Stream side.
All right.
That flashlight flick was good.
I like this guy's movement too. He's played dorms a lot. His movement was very methodical on when he first came up this doorway. Back a little bit, yeah. When he first comes up the doorway, he immediately cuts right, like peeks, goes right behind the doorway, and then
I'm
sprints into
inside
the
two,
side
three
door. Yeah, I
stories,
do that
second
every
floor.
time.
I'm
This
watching
door
here.
spawns
They're up
open.
on,
You
metal
get
stairs right
nice
now.
cover behind the. It's not hard cover, but it does deflect enough damage to where, like, okay, I got tagged up, but I can go disengage out the staircase in case someone is shooting it. But then you get in this hard cover, and then as soon as this, he goes in and gets behind the pillar.
Oh, they're up above.
Very next sprint,
Yeah, it goes
behind
behind
the
the
pillar.
pillar.
and then
Yeah, the
we
little
fire
elbow pillar.
aims at the end of the stairwell. That's the one of the two spots they'll be in, but the second one is right behind that door that he's aiming at.
Mhm.
So he's covering pretty much the only angle that they'll be, unless they're middle of the staircase. But they probably would have shot at him when he passed by. But yeah, no, like his movement was really good. And then, if I'm not mistaken, he goes up on top of the container.
I'm gonna push up the third.
Oh no, okay, he pushed by. Yeah,
Yeah, he pushes
that was the next spot I like to go.
staircase, and then 180s, which I really like how he clears the staircase, because as he's
I'm
coming
gonna push
up,
up the third.
he clears this corner, and then he walks up just far enough where he can see this corner, because some people will deceptively sit in this corner, and people do not clear these corners on factory or customs very well. And then he hits the 180. And
Yep.
flashlight on.
Factory especially. I feel like he turned the flashlight on for his teammate to say, like, hey, this is me. Because he turns it off immediately. If he was doing it
he
for an enemy, I feel like it would have been left on. He might have accidentally double clicked it.
Up here.
But he did end up killing him. I think it's funny that he called the guy a rat. The guy's sitting in the window. This guy's probably a Chad that he's killing.
Yeah.
That window jump is not for rats. That's overexposing yourself. They'll do that to try to scan outside a little better and or scan the roof. If his teammate's sitting on the roof hallway, which I'm thinking they might be, but yeah, basically Chads will jump in this window to peek out towards the roof. But he
Jokes on
says
him,
he's
that guy was
ratting in the
doing-
corner. If
he
that
was
guy's
doing
ratting in the
bullshit,
corner, there is like, yeah, dude, going and planting the stuff.
Just
Yeah.
planting the stuff, bro. Just leave him alone.
Yeah, if the guy's ratting in the corner, he's gonna be behind the bookshelf on the right side, and you'll barely be able to see him. I think he's in this window, right?
Yeah, he's
not
in the
standing up.
windowsill. He is
Yeah,
in
yes,
the
yeah,
windowsill.
That guy's probably a Chad. Like
Mhm.
he's definitely not ratting it.
Yeah,
Uh, very niche play for this guy to make. I do this. Is this door down here? I'll actually, again, pre-open it. One, for the free look. Two, in this windowsill, you can drop down onto the little metal that's over the front door, and you can kill the guy on stairs. And it looks really stylish, because all of a sudden you just vanish from the
Oh,
windowsill.
That's nice.
and
Actually,
you're
I
a floor
never even
down.
thought about that. Yeah.
Dang, yeah, I'm
Oh.
gonna try that. That's a good
I'm
play.
gonna try that too. Yeah, that's a
It-
good play.
It only works if they don't immediately sprint up, but most people don't. It's very niche, but when you get it, it's a clip-worthy moment. It is
Can
a
you go back in
clip-worthy
the
moment.
window there?
I haven't tried with
Or do you have to
vaulting.
drop down?
Prior to vaulting, you couldn't, but I have not
Okay.
tried since vaulting got introduced. It might be doable. If it does, it's even more stylish. I'll
no,
really
that'd
like
be
it
an
then.
awesome flank play.
Either way, you
Well,
can
it'd
just
be
drop
even
down
cooler
to
if there was
first.
one
then.
down on. Yeah, there was one on first too, and then you just drop off that and Batman the guy on first too.
Oh, double kill like that?
Yeah.
That would be a moment. That would be a clip-worthy moment.
Somebody up here.
One
He
dead.
gets his
Nice shot
kill.
by
Okay,
him, though.
good.
Fucking corner. Like,
Mhm.
Yep. The other one's
MPX.
on the right.
Laser.
I like
Such a
that he
good gun.
comes back up for while he's healing, because he knows he was safe here to try to, like, get info, but he's ready to run back down the stairs.
Bait him out, maybe.
He's pushing.
Needed to keep
Yeah,
pre-pain before this push.
Pre-pain was definitely
been
an
the
issue.
biggest-
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have that.
You get him?
That's
No.
one of my biggest faults on Tarkov is just not being pre-pain before making these plays. But if he knows he's gonna push, he's obviously an aggressive player, and not being pre-pain there was extra risk. He did bait this player into pushing down, and since his teammates given all this information, I can only assume that she's sitting in the hallway to I marked him out to the roof, and so like he healed, was peeking, and then went down the stairs, and he knows with this heal he's going to bait this guy into potentially pushing, and so he heals and then walks down the stairs and gets into a right hand peek, and sure enough, this guy just bait, hook, and sinker, and he melted him. It was well played.
I feel like it's a little bit of a misstep. I do like that he baited
Yeah.
this guy. I do feel like though right here he is stepped a little further out from this wall and his gun is not ready. I would have liked to see him cancel the sprint and step about a foot away from this wall so his gun barrel doesn't get stuffed. Cancel his sprint right about here to be able to fire, but it does end up working in his favor to extend. I just feel like this is extending a little far, but he also might be trying to avoid a headshot.
Yeah, flashlight on, and is he hip fire or aimed on sight here?
I believe it is a
Yeah, I think he ADS. Oh no, he does just point fire. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he's sprinted out and then cut back left with his flashlight on, and uh, uh, not bad.
No, not bad at all.
On the cutback, you'd be surprised how many times like you can sprint out and the person will trail you, and then when you cut back and you're spraying them, especially with hip fire or the aim punch, the person trailing you will keep going, and then when they try and cut back, they're just right behind you as you're moving back, and so
Yeah.
uh, uh overall, he's a good player, very good player, methodical
Agreed.
movement, good shots, good decision making in the moment. Should have been pre-pained, but you
Yeah.
know, fucking tell me about it. I do
Could
that
use
all the time.
flashlight. Oh,
Yeah.
it was good. Yep.
I was so disciplined with pre-painting 2 wipes ago when the painkiller effect was like the old PK effect, and then they last wipe changed it to that PK effect that many people expressed that they did not like it, and they've gone to this one now, which is significantly better. But that one wipe broke me out of my habit of just PK'd all the time.
Yeah.
I believe the old one
I
was
would
the
stream.
sharpening effect.
Yep.
Wasn't that right?
It looked
Okay.
great on the user's end, but I streamed on a lower end PC and I was doing like 720 at the time. And if you pre-pained with uh, the low bit rate on Twitch, it just made everything look super pixelated.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I stopped doing it a long time ago, and it's hard to break the habit, but I need to get back into it because there's been a lot of times that I'll end up getting sent back to the lobby because I get my leg blacked out. I'm just sitting there like wobbling around. It's like, oh god.
It's like you're on the high seas, dude. The whole
Yeah,
screen just
dude.
going up and down.
Oh
Yeah.
no, not the high seas.
Yeah.
We're getting ready though. That was the last clip. Sheef, I know we got you introduced. Do you have anything that you want to say to anybody who's getting into PvP or any projects coming up you want to go ahead and just get out there?
With PvP, it's you kind of touched on it earlier. It's a lot of map knowledge. That's like with this guy right here. I could tell he has fought in dorms a lot. His
Yeah.
movement was very precise. It was, I'm going to sprint in here, go behind this doorway, sprint into the doorway, sprint across, peek this angle. It was extremely precise. He knew what he was doing. That's a lot of what the fights get down to, and you can only get into that level of knowledge by dying. You're going to get in, you're going to fight, and you're going to learn more from the mistakes than you do the wins. And so if you're willing to take the blame and be like, how could I have improved in that specific moment, rather than this guy's ratting in a corner, or this guy is camping, this guy cheating, or whatever. Instead of trying to make any excuse you can to alleviate the blame from you, and just take full accountability and be like, and it's easier said than done, but take full accountability and be like, how can I improve on this? That's how you become a really, really, really good PvP player, is, being willing to get into these fights, make the mistake, die, and then take full accountability and then try to improve on that. And so, don't be afraid to get in these fights. It's the biggest thing for me. My first wipe, and it's a little different now because you do need to quest and stuff like that, but I didn't care about questing. I didn't care about anything besides fighting. I wanted to get in and PvP, and if I got to shoot my gun, the round was a win. My win condition was fighting. A goal was survival. I wanted to survive, right? But the win condition, change up your win condition. And if you want to improve as a PvP player, change that away from surviving and put it into getting into a fight. If you get in a fight and get to shoot your gun, you have won the round. And same in like battle royales. You want to win the game, but if you get in and you have 12 kills and you take a second place, did you lose? Like for a lot of
Oh,
people, you're like, no, that was a good round. That was fun. I didn't completely win the game, but I had fun and I won 12 fights. And having that extra win condition of like, okay, as long as I get in a fight, we're good. And then try to learn from it. That goes a very, very long way. You can do it on your scav even.
Yeah.
If you want to progress PvP on your scav and chase shots and everything, get in all the fights you can, and then on your PMC quest, get to max traders and then start PvPing. That's probably what I would do for a first wiper, especially if you're joining in late. And that way, when your first full wipe, which is 3 weeks away or so, you hit the ground running. Big difference on that. You'll feel so much more confident and stuff. And arena, I'm not the biggest fan of it as a whole, but I've also played the game a ridiculous amount, and I know the PvP mechanics. If you have access to arena, you can utilize it. There's a lot of PvP to be done in there, and you can learn a lot in arena in a short amount of time for the PvP mechanics.
agreed.
Yeah,
Especially going
especially
like
that
you
new
said,
game
battle
mode too.
royale. Oh,
I've
the
heard
new
good
bomb
things about it.
plant.
Yeah, I've heard really good things about it.
Yeah, like last hero too is really good because it's free for all, right? Like you spawn and die, spawn and die, spawn and die, but you're getting that rep in. You're getting those good shots, you know what I mean? And in quick succession, like you're getting to practice.
Hmm.
When I was
And then it's
getting into
just like
battle
what Chief said.
royales, I always told my teammates first couple days we're just gonna hot drop, and they're like, "Why?
Yep.
We want to survive." And I'm like, "We could survive to the top 10, but if we don't have the skills to finish it, then it doesn't matter. But we're gonna get those skills through reps." And the best way to get reps was I told them we're gonna hot drop. We're just gonna hot drop on repeat until we get reps. That's
Yeah,
a great way.
that's a great way to put it. Honestly, is like pushing the fights is similar to the hot drops. Like your hot drops, you're not likely to win the entire game, but if you get that hot drop and you kill 6 players and die to the 7th, that was a successful hot drop. That was fun. That was good.
I
And
love how you
so,
put it, changing the win condition. If you want to get better at
Yeah.
PvP, change your win condition. Survival now becomes optional.
yep.
Yeah.
That's a bonus. We like the bonus. We want to survive, but getting in that fight is huge.
Yeah. Losing is learning though, winning
Yeah,
is teaching,
that's
losing is learning.
yep.
Mm-hmm. Any projects Sheep coming up you want to let anybody know about?
I mean, I just reset my account. I did yesterday. I reset my account and did a 24-hour stream, and I got up to level 30. And so like that was the goal. I knew I did somewhere around 25 to 30, but I was kind of curious on how to see. And it was like there was a bunch of mishaps and stuff like that. It was not a smooth run by any means. That was rocky as it could be. But that I'm just going to be pressing to max traders and then doing PvP and educational content for the rest of the wipe. And then when wipe hits, I'm going to be sweating it out big time and doing educational runs the entire way through. And so if you want to, I know BAMBZ also does it a lot. If you want to learn the game, either of our streams are a great way to do it. We don't mind answering any questions. And so if you have any, feel free to stop by, ask them. There is no dumb questions with Tarkov. It really is
exactly.
true. There's not a single dumb question. And so come by and ask them.
I went ahead and pinned both of these guys' channels in the chat, so if you need to find these guys, those are there. BAMBZ, I know you're a Sherpa, you're a household name here to me. Any projects going on with you or any final thoughts for PvP?
No, yeah, same. Just kind of prepping for the wipe, getting excited, and yeah, for obviously what's to come. Hopefully, some big things. I know they've already been doing some big things too, big changes, big patches. So hopefully, some really nice things coming. Hopefully, we do get Unity with the new wipe, and we get all those juicy performance upgrades that they've been promising. I think they said like a 50% performance increase. So
Oh, that'd be nice.
yeah, if that's the
50%
case,
is so good.
yeah, it's a lofty number, but we'll see. Yeah, I look at that. I was like, if you're getting 90 FPS on streets, that's the difference of 90 and 120. That's a big increase.
Oh yeah.
But it'll be good. No, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to wipe. Yeah, we do usually a Sherpathon too when wipe hits, where we try to help as many people kind of along and get to that goal, because everyone wants to have their max traders. Everyone wants to get into the PvP. Like Chief was saying. And yeah, so we usually do our big marathon when wipe hits, but looking forward to that. And yeah, so if you guys need help, you know where to find me, and I'll be here.
And you said you were after this you were going live yourself, is that correct?
Yes, sir, we are indeed.
All right, then I think I've got no final thoughts. That's for me, so I think we're probably gonna raid off here to BAMBZ. But before I raid off, I just want to say, Sheef, BAMBZ, thank you for coming on to the show. Appreciate you guys taking the time out of your day. I know it's busy being content creators and having the community that you guys have built and doing all the work that you guys do. I do appreciate you taking the time to come out here and just be a part of the show. The insight was great. Such experience is given out to these players who are looking to grow as players. I cannot thank you guys enough for coming out.
Oh, dude, my pleasure. I could talk Tarkov all day long, legitimately all day long. So yeah, no, this was fun. This was fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Gunner.
Glad to have you guys. We will be having more. I believe next week we are doing boss hunting strategies. So not sure who the guests are going to be for that one, but that'll be next week's topic. And I guess we're going to be raiding up here to BAMBZ. Are you already live, BAMBZ?
I will fix that for you now, sir.
All right.
Yeah, it's good. It's been a real pleasure too. Thank you for having me.
It was a pleasure having you guys. You guys were awesome. I really appreciate you guys being here for the first Sherpa Sunday. And we are going to send everybody over to BAMBZ and hope you guys have a good night.
Peace out, everybody.
Yeah, see you soon.